Qool Hand Podcast. Something you gotta deal with. It's something you gotta deal with. And we back, and we back, and we back. Check it out.
Glow sticks in the night. Tryna light the way, I'm just tryna love you right. Got a lot to say, but you're quiet when we fight. Told me real love can never end, but it might, I don't know. I'm crying ugly for you. Say that you love me, I hope that you do. Looking for signs, baby, show me a clue. Your words screaming loud, but your actions on mute, oh. Yeah. You make me feel things I haven't felt in ages. I know love, it comes in stages. Your love like tides, it comes in phases. Trying to find a feeling, but I'm lost in the mazes. Staring at your body, I get lost, it amazes me because it feels like we're just on different pages. Just let it go.
This cat is talented. Either love me or let it go. All right, that song that you were just listening to is called Glow Sticks by Khari Taurii. Now, if I'm saying your name wrong, my brother, I sincerely apologize because, you know, one thing we got in this world is our names, you know, and you don't want to get those, you know, have some random weirdo on a microphone saying your name wrong. So that's the way that I interpret this name, Khari Taurii. I'm going to just call you Khari for the rest of this podcast. But that song is called Glow Sticks. It's off this new EP. This EP is called The Real Me. While I was down there in Charlotte interviewing Dev with Zoom In Live, also go check out that interview on the Qool Hand Podcast YouTube page. You can check it out on Spotify. Subscribe on everything that I got, whatever. Anyway, we're at this little kickback, and I'm talking to somebody else with a podcast who's a part of a podcast called Bias Aside. Shout out to those brothers who do that. And the specific person I'm talking to at this little kickback, chopping it up, talking some nerdy podcast stuff. Shout out to JD Jones. Shout out to JD because he put me on. As I was listening to Khari's music, I texted bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, oftentimes, especially, you know, I ain't from Charlotte, so I'm in somebody else's territory. I'm in somebody else's backyard. You get the numbers. You do the Hollywood thing. It's like, oh, yeah, we'll link up next time I'm in town. Woo, woo. No. And then you never end up using that person's number. No, I hit dog up. I said, yo, this dude is nice. Like, thank you for putting me on. He's like, I'm glad you appreciate it. Yeah, dude is talented. Woo, woo. So shout out to this brother. I am very much appreciative for the recommendation, because I'm here reviewing this music now. So this person Khari, he has previous projects that I suggest you listen to. I didn't listen to the previous projects in full. I listened to select songs, but because I wanted to review this most recent project, that's what I'm going to be talking about. So I can't speak too much to his Khari's previous music, but I did get a little a sample size of it by listening to some select songs. So, you know, if you're a Khari fan, let me know in the comments on YouTube, Spotify. Give us give me some feedback. Tell me what you like most about his music. But anyway, this project, The Real Me, I don't know. I started following this brother not too long ago, honestly, not too long ago. And apparently this might be his last project. I don't know. As soon as, you know, I start tapping in with your music, that's when you want to start quitting the music and retiring. But I'm going to just tell y'all like this. If you make music, y'all never really retire. Like when you're a musician, rapper, singer, guitar player, whatever, you never really retire. You never really quit. You always have that music inside of you. You always have the desire to make music, or you might hear a song on the radio or just a song that you like and you start making your own harmonies to the joint. Or if you're a rapper, you hear an instrumental or a beat that you like. You might start, you know, freestyling to it or writing a little something here and there. You know, despite me being a retired rapper and undefeated battle rapper, and like often, you know, sometimes I'll be like, oh, this is hard. I might, you know, think of a couple lines here and there, something like that. So that's to the retirement thing. Artists never retire. Even if they're not putting out music, they never retire. that burning is still within them. I can be wrong, but I feel like I'm not, and that's why I'm saying it. So this might be the last project you guys get from Khari Taurii for a very long time, or if all. So this is just an EP, a short but enjoyable ride that he's going to take us on. But let's do some history. And this isn't history into Khari per se, as they say. As I was listening to his music and the sound that he has, and I mean this with all due respect, back in 2010, or let's take it back, maybe in 2008, there was a young artist who was coming from the country of Canada. He was previously on a show called Degrassi: The Next Generation. He played somebody called Wheelchair Jimmy. Now, Wheelchair Jimmy was on the basketball team. He was cool with some other weirdos in Degrassi High School, and he got caught up with some angry nerd who who ended up doing something to Drake or Wheelchair Jimmy and put him in a wheelchair. So shout out to Degrassi: The Next Generation. But that the actor who played Wheelchair Jimmy was also a rapper. He was a rapper and a singer, and they called him Drake. Now, when I first heard this Drake character, I remember my brother put me on. He was like, I had to be in like 8th grade, and my brother said, "You know the dude who plays Jimmy on Degrassi?" Because it used to come on in the mornings in the summertime. I'm like, yeah. He's like, he's a rapper. And he showed me this song called Ransom. And I'm listening to the song, and the bars were not matching up with the idea that I had of this Wheelchair Jimmy Drake kid. And I'm like, this isn't him. This is not dude. I thought my brother was playing with me. I thought he was like, messing with me. Like, this is not dude. And then when he said, "I'm the same yellow boy that used to play up on the grass, he can cop 100,000 just for anyone who asks me," something like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, what's the point of me saying all of this? Well, Drake comes out in 2007, 2008, and he drops his first studio album in 2010. And one of the most impressive things about Drake is his longevity. But whether you like him or not, whether you would like to acknowledge it or not, and I know that Drake isn't a sole entity. Drake is the face, but behind Drake are a lot of people. There's a lot of people that make Drake happen, whether it's creative designers, for people to help form an identity with what we call Drake, the person behind Drake. Of course, you have writers, and I know there was the whole ghostwriting scandal, and we're going to talk about that in another episode. But the sound of, I don't want to say music changed, but the direction that hip hop was going in, I definitely think Drake had a big part in shifting that. So much to the point where Drake would rap about people sounding like him and things like that. But that was the early 2010s. Okay. Now, I like to say that Drake birthed a lot of offspring. And once again, I don't say this with any, I don't say this in a bad way. I'm just taking things back because I feel like it's nice to go back and look at the origins of some things. And I'm not saying Drake is the father of everybody out here, because behind Drake, there is Party Next Door. Behind Drake, there is the Quentin Millers. Behind Drake, there's The Weeknd, where if you do your homework, The Weeknd gave a handful of songs to Drake for one of people, they say is one of his best albums is Take Care, which, yeah, I guess so. But so, yeah. There was a change. You started seeing people like The Weeknd. And although The Weeknd was his own person, he had a hand in that shift because he was a part of the identity of Drake. So you had people like The Weeknd, the guy Roy Woods, you had Bryson Tiller, you had Party Next Door, early Party Next Door. And then you started seeing like Tory Lanez and there's some other people that come to mind, but there's a specific sound. And when you hear these guys, you have that sound, and I think I always identify it with that shift in music in the early 2010s, or 2012, 2013 era, which I think Drake pioneered in a sense. So with Drake pioneering a certain sound along with the others like The Weeknd, you had Bryson Tiller. And then there's some people who don't care about no Drake. You can't tell them nothing about no Drake, but they're a Bryson Tiller fan and they look up to Bryson Tiller. Or you have somebody, when it comes to Tory Lanez on some melodic stuff, when he makes his R&B tracks, ain't no Drake. I don't care about no Bryson Tiller. I rock with Tory Lanez. That's where I get my inspiration from. You know what I'm saying? So I hope you was walking with me this whole time and you kind of got the picture. So when I was listening to Khari Taurii's music, I said he sounds like an offspring of that shift in hip hop, with the melodic stuff, the melodic flow, but not in a bad way. He doesn't sound like he's a carbon copy of anyone, which was the problem for a while. You had a lot of just straight up clones. And I think the same thing goes on in music now, where these people bite something. There's a difference between having inspiration and biting. A lot of people were just biting, and a lot of people to this day bite. They hear a sound, they take a sound. They hear another sound, they take a sound. I'm very passionate about this. I knew I was going to have fun with this episode because this is the music that I really rock with this. I really rock with this guy's music. So, I don't know. I have not talked to him. I don't know him. He has no idea that this is coming out. If this comes, if he somehow sees this, let me know who your inspirations are. Let me know. So I feel like this person is an offspring of that era of music. He's like, the Bryson Tiller, Tory Lanez type people, but with his own identity. And I'll get into a little bit to that identity factor a little bit later. So the Real Me EP, it is 4 songs. It has a song called Glow Sticks, which we just listened to, The Real Me, which is the title track, Wait Too Long, and then Through the Pages. And I have some notes here, and we're going to briefly go through each one of these songs, and then I'll just wrap it up after, I gave my whole soliloquy about Drake, The Weeknd, all that crap. All of these songs have a message, and I'll speak more on that in the concluding remarks of this podcast. But so Glow Sticks, and even with the title of this song, Glow Sticks, I'm like, okay, that's kind of peculiar. That's really specific. There must be some type of sentimental meaning behind, glow sticks. He talks about glow sticks in the night, try to something, but I'm like, I don't know the correlation. So I imagine the glow sticks illustration, comparison, analogy, whatever, is something real personal to him. It might be, an Easter egg. I don't know if it's something in another project, but he says in the song, love me or let it go. The gist of this song to me was, okay, your words are not matching your actions. This has a heartbreak type vibe, but although it's upbeat, it's kind of like, the beat of the song is actually good. You can nod your head to it. You can, move to it, move your hips, bob your head, all of that stuff. But the actual content of the song is like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, you say that you love me, but you don't show it. Like, your actions are very quiet. You can scream from the top of a mountain, I love you, this is my woo. But what do your actions say? Your actions say otherwise. Your actions say, I couldn't care less, or you're not a priority, so on and so forth. So he says it. He says, can't tell that you love me by the way that you've been moving. And he goes on to say, I end up expressing it through the music, something like that. So that's the first song. And this is a great song. It has a star next to it on Apple Music. And I'm going to break one of my rules for songs. When a song, has like a star on Apple Music, I don't use Spotify. It's like one of the most played or something like that. That's my understanding. And sometimes when I see like a star on like the first 3 songs, okay, that's because everybody's playing it from the beginning. And of course, these first 3 songs are getting like the most plays. Like, it doesn't mean that these are the favorite songs. It's like, okay, we turned it off after the first couple songs, or we never finished listening to the album. We'll listen to the first 3, and then it's like, okay, let's turn to something else. This is whack. There's only 4 songs on here, and for good reason, I would say this song has that star next to it, because as you heard it in the beginning, I wanted to turn it off way earlier. I only want to play so much of a song in the beginning of these podcasts, but the thing is, I didn't want to. I didn't want to turn it off. If it was up to me, we would still be, it is up to me, but you know what I mean. If it was up to me, we would still be listening to the whole joint this whole time, and then I would get started afterwards. So it's on you to listen to this project if you haven't done it already as I continue. This is a really good song, and I understand why many people would want to play this one specifically. Now, the next song is the title track, the Real Me. So I would imagine this song has a little more significance. Although all 4 songs are great, this is the title track for a reason. So this one's a little bit calmer, but I like it a lot. It has what I think is the acoustic guitar. And I said in one of my reviews for Ty Cam and Manny Zumar, the song Sailing to the Moon, on the bridge portion of that song, everything became quieter. There were no drums, no synths, no none of that. It was just Manny singing, and whether it was the ukulele or the guitar or banjo, it was just vocals, strings, backup vocals, strings, where there's less distraction, where you're forced to listen to what the artist is saying. There's not anything else to take you from it. So I associate this song with intimacy. By chance, the song title was called The Real Me. So we're getting, in my opinion, an intimate view of Khari on this song. So this song, like I said, is personal, and what I have written down here is being reluctant, being afraid to be vulnerable. He alludes to not wanting to end up like his parents, having what I believe is a bad relationship. He says, "You see the real me, see me clearly." But he also says that I'm afraid you can never love me. And I'm paraphrasing there. So once again, these are valid feelings that I think many people go through. Whether it's someone who's never been in a relationship before, or someone who's been in many relationships that haven't worked out, maybe at some point you get discouraged and say, maybe I'm just meant to be single. You know, maybe marriage, love just isn't for me. Because every time I reach a certain point with somebody else, it just all falls through. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, after a while, you can be the most positive person in the world, and then you just, take 2 steps up and then 4 steps down. 2 steps up, 4 steps down, 2 steps. And it's like, okay, to the point where you find something else, you might become apathetic and hardened to it. Like, is this even worth it? Like, is it even worth putting my real feelings out there? Is it worth letting loose, in the sense of letting you see who I am, seeing my goofiness, seeing me cry, expressing myself to you? Because all these other times it just doesn't work out. So it can be a scenario like that. It can be a scenario, like I said, somebody who can have an insecurity, like I've never been in a relationship before, or I've never had a serious relationship before. How do I, you might be reserved, or you just simply are a reserved person, and it's hard for you to be vulnerable. So that is the main point that I get from him in this song here. but at the same time, it's like there is a tug of war, so to speak. There's a pulling, because he talks about how comfortable he feels around the person, but at the same time doesn't is afraid that you won't love him for the real him. So this is some real stuff. Like, this is some real stuff, and that's one of my one of my favorite songs. There's only four of them, but so this next song, "Wait Too Long." Now this one is a top favorite song. So in this song, he kind of like raps with it, kind of flows with it. And this is the thing, like, this is how I know, like, he's tuned in, tapped in, seasoned, and polished, so to speak, because there's just certain things that a youngin', somebody who's new to this, can't do. Dude knows how to sing, but it's not like I'm a one trick pony. I remember, like, there's R&B singers, and no matter how legendary they are, and no matter how much they're around music, can't rap. And not rap like, super lyrical miracle, and it's not satirical. Like, not that type of rap. I'm talking about like flow. Like like you can probably have like the best bars in the world, but if the flow isn't there, nobody wants to hear it. I'm going to just keep it real. Or not nobody, you know what I mean. A lot of people might tune out because it's not the way that it's wrapped. The package is ugly. So I feel like a flow is very important when it comes to people digesting the music, especially rap music. So, and he's not like straight up rapping. It's kind of like a melodic rap, but he has some tune in it. So in this song, "Wait Too Long," it's about not wanting to wait too long, or trying to find the right time to tell someone how you feel about them. It's hard, timing. Timing in a relationship is a hard thing. It's like, okay, when is the right time to talk to this person about how I feel? What if we just need to wait a little bit longer? Or what if I wait too long and then they're interested in someone else? Or like all of these what ifs, pretty much. One thing I learned, I'm not going to put my own personal opinion out there. Forget that. I'm not being held accountable or responsible for any opinions on romance. I'm out. So at a certain point, while he's conveying this message, he starts rapping, what I call rapping. And he's pretty much saying, like, he says, "I know that we're young, but don't got no time to waste." He has some backup vocals behind his flow. And I really like this one because this one is like more of, what can I say? It's like a break. And once again, the content is real. The content isn't anything light. It's about, waiting too long. Once again, I feel like there's like conflict within the song of like, I don't want to wait too long to tell you how I feel, and just all the thoughts that go behind that. I really enjoyed the rapping part of that. It's like a break. It's kind of like you had the acoustic stuff and the super personal stuff in this last song, but although the content is still heavy and wait too long, the way that the song is produced, it's and having the flow and everything, it's a nice relief, although it's still heavy. Now, this last song, this was my favorite song content wise, I would say, but maybe it's more so how the song was written. Now, I'm somebody who does appreciate bars, but that's not the word that I'm looking for. Let me just start talking about the song and maybe you'll get what I'm trying to get at. So this last song is called "Through the Pages," and he's comparing what I imagine quote unquote failed relationship, because I say this all the time, and a brother told me this a very long time ago, it was like 8 years ago. He said, something not working out can be working out, because if something didn't work out, it clearly wasn't the best thing for you and the other person. So although it may hurt, it's for the best. Okay. So I'm going to say failed in air quotes, a failed relationship, but peep this, because it seems like although the relationship is over, Khari has some regrets or something he would like to change. And, he's basically asking, would you change anything or would you leave it as it is? So he's talking about this relationship, comparing their journey to a book, specifically a storybook, chapters in this book. He's talking about chapters and stuff like that and pages. He said, my chapter in your book is over. All of our pages getting older, but I never wrote a sentence after you. My only regret are the things left unsaid. We never got to see what's written next. Oh my goodness. This is what I'm talking about. There's a level of talent, and that's the thing. What hits hard isn't always, and this is why I go at you rappers all the time. The stuff that hits hard isn't always the most complex thing. I feel like this is a simple I don't want to use the wrong word and look ignorant, but forget it. A simple metaphor. I can be using it right. I can be using it wrong. A simple metaphor, comparing your relationship with somebody, your journey with somebody as chapter. You hear people talk about that dumb stuff all the time. This chapter of my life is over. We're leaving this chapter in the past. Forget all that. What he's talking about, he doesn't make it sound corny. That's the only difference. The way, like real rap, this doesn't sound like this is some straight up cornball. I'm letting this go and getting my hair trimmed, and forget that. This song is soft, but it's good. That's the thing. This is the song that I can see a lot of people. You know what? I'm gonna rewind on something. This is the song I can see people listening to when they're saying, this chapter of my life is over. This is the song that you would like until you see somebody else like it. No disrespect. I might be the person that turns you off to this song. But you know what I mean? There's certain songs where it's okay, when you see it's certain people can just ruin a song. And it's funny because as I say that, I feel like I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, they're probably watching the person who's ruining the song for them. So this is a cold little inception moment here, because I'm speaking on people who ruin music for others while potentially being that person. So that's the cold part of all of this. But anyway, when I was listening to this song, I thought this would be the one that hits people the most. I think all of these songs can, hit you in the heart there where you really relate to it. But I'm like, this is the song that transcends hip hop. This is the song that transcends the hip hop R&B. This is the one that everyone will listen to and relate to. Real talk. Real talk. So I really enjoyed that. Would you do anything over? Or leave or leave everything how it was? Would you change anything? Would you do this? Would you do that? And it seemed like he was still hanging on in this song to something that he couldn't completely let go, although things have ended. So once again, me talking about this can't do it all the justice. You really got to listen to this, The Real Me EP. And my concluding thoughts on this project. The dude has a great voice. I didn't spend too much time talking about his voice because I don't know how that much, but he sounds great. He vocally sounds good. He's not a rookie. He's not a rookie. He's not a rookie at all. He knows how to put a song together. He knows how to write a song and package it well to the point where, like I said, it doesn't sound corny and he doesn't overdo it. Music like that, like, you know, certain artists in this world, like when I was talking about like the Drake influence, the Weeknd influence, I feel like a lot of like singers, like melodic people, like take themselves too seriously or try to be mysterious, like have a certain image where it's like, dog, just make your dumb music. I don't care about like, you know, you trying to be philosophical and super deep and come off all like artic. Man, you're not that. Like, so I feel like the music isn't full of itself. It doesn't come across pretentious. It doesn't come across like, it just doesn't, the music isn't full of itself. If you understand what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying. Every song is something that people can relate to as humans, whether you express it or not. We have emotions, so we are emotional beings. We have a yearning to be loved. A lot of people, especially if you know you're young, in the dating world, you can relate to these things, and this is why I think the music is great. Only 4 songs long. It's a great listen. It's a quick listen, and I guarantee you'll want to play it again. Khari Taurii, shout out to you. JD Jones, shout out to you. This is the Qool Hand Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Check me out on Spotify. You can also watch the video on Spotify. You don't only have to go to YouTube to watch the Qool Hand Podcast on video. So that's it. This is the Qool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Easy.